Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's video where I'm going to be discussing these two photographs. Okay, I'm just interrupting the video quickly there to make a short announcement. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that recently I went past 1,000 followers, and for that, to celebrate, I did a print giveaway to anyone that has been following me and supporting me. Now, the winner of that giveaway was Stephen Peachy, and after I told him that he was the winner, he contacted me back and said, "David, wouldn't it be a good idea if we sold the print and gave the money to a mental health charity?" And I said, "Stephen, that's a great idea," and that's what we're doing. So you can win a print by making a bid in a charity auction, and this is how you do it. Go and visit my Instagram account, David Dixon Photography, and then go to the post of the image that you want a print of and put your highest bid in your local currency. And then on Tuesday by 9 PM UK time, the highest bid on any of the posts will be a winner. So if you're the winner, you will get the print, and all the money will go to the charity Mind. Mind is a mental health charity here in the UK, the charity that I'm talking with, and they do a lot in terms of informing everybody about mental health issues and giving support to people who are suffering. So again, go to my Instagram account, David Dixon Photography, go to the post that you want a print of and put a comment with your highest bid, and you'll hear from me on Tuesday. Excuse me. Alright, back to the video. Photographs that I captured in Oxford city centre in my last video. If you haven't seen that video yet, then go and check it out first so you can see what it was that I was doing, and you can catch it in the link that I put up there or on the link that I'll put in the description below. Before I get into talking about them, why Oxford? Well, I actually live in Oxford in the UK. My house is actually 10-minute cycle ride from the city centre, so I'm really lucky to have such an amazing city on my doorstep. And it is a very beautiful place. Ordinarily, and like I said in the video, it's incredibly busy though. There's lots of visitors and tourists there, all to see the amazing architecture and the buildings of the university. And for good reason, because it is incredible. It's a very beautiful city, and that's why I enjoy photographing it. I haven't spoken about it much on my channel before, but I do actually go out into the city centre quite regularly in the mornings, although I haven't done it too much recently, which is why I put this video together, in fact, to just reinvigorate my my interest in it. But I love going there first thing in the morning before anybody else is up and watching the city wake up. It's just so much more peaceful, and you really get to appreciate the city for what it is rather than the people in it, if that makes sense. So I said that I haven't done this very much recently, and I think that's partly because in the winter time there isn't really that much time around sunrise when there aren't people commuting or visitors getting up and looking around the city, and that's simply because the sun rises later. In the summer, yes, it can be very difficult to get up super early in the morning to catch the sunrise, and in order to head into the city for this video, I was up just around 3:30 in the morning before I headed out, and that's early. That's very difficult to convince yourself to get out of bed. But I knew that I wanted to do this video, and I knew that I wanted to make Turner's paintings the subject, and so it just gave me that motivation to get out there and do it, and I'm really glad that I did, because now I feel like I want to go back out into Oxford again sometime and take more photographs of the city centre. It's, as I said, beautiful and just very enjoyable to explore at that time in the morning. So let's start talking about the photographs. The first photograph I captured, as I said in the video, I'm not really super happy with it. It's all right, and it's possibly better than a quick snapshot, but it's not really, because of several things. Now, I know that people will have other opinions of how these images are compared to me. We always say that we're our own worst critics, but I think in this example I was trying to recreate Turner's paintings, and because of that I wasn't using too much of my own style or creativity to achieve the images, if you follow me. So therefore, I was more concentrating on trying to produce something close to what Turner had painted rather than the image that I captured. So to talk about it in a little bit more detail, there's just this huge bit of sky that has nothing in it, and that for me just is a bit of a waste. Now, I am a really big fan of negative space, but in this image where it's not completely clear what the main subject is, then the negative space is superfluous. It doesn't really add to it at all. So you could say the main subject here was the spire of St Mary's Church, as beautiful as it is, but it's actually quite small in the frame compared to the front of Oriel College, which is very dominant there on the right hand side and completely throwing the image off balance. Now, saying all this, it now makes sense to me a little bit more as to why Turner used his artistic license to compress the perspective even more than any lens can, and make this building and the church tower much more dominant in the scene, so that there's more balance in the image. And his painting does look a lot more balanced than my photograph, and I could have achieved something similar to his painting, as I said in the video, if I was much higher up and if I was much further back, and then I could use the telephoto lens and produce something slightly more similar to what he saw, what he painted. It's not possible for me to do that, one, because there's actually buildings behind me. It's quite narrow areas, these back streets of Oxford, so I don't have the space to do that, and nor did I have a big ladder. So yes, it is close to what Turner had produced in his painting, but it's nowhere near. And a lot of people's comments did reflect my own thoughts in that you can't recreate something that someone has done in a painting, mainly because they have used artistic license, and plus I can't tap into his imagination or creativity. So it's a very different art form, and it has very different conventions, and therefore you cannot really marry painting and photography in the way that I was attempting to in the video. It wasn't really my intention to do that either. I just wanted to use Turner's paintings as a influence or a motivation to get out into Oxford, as I said. So yeah, the image is okay, but obviously there's some really major other issues with it. For example, the bollards down here, that I just don't want them there. I don't know what else to say. The cars down the street in Oriel Lane, I don't want them there either. But what can you do? This is a modern city, and I think that the point that I made in the video, that when we are visiting a place, we see the beautiful buildings and we take a photograph. It's not until afterwards that you see these things that are just invisible to our day-to-day eyeballs as we walk around, because we're used to seeing cars and signs and bollards. But when they start to feature in our images, they become a distraction. Nothing we can change about that. So I will talk more about what I like about photographing Oxford as a result of this. But before I do, we'll talk about the next image. So this is Merton College, and it is just around the corner from where the first image was taken. It's a really beautiful street. As you can see, it's cobbled, and the college and its chapel are just very beautiful buildings. Turner's painting was very different to mine. His paintings actually quite often included people. Now, they obviously weren't really there in the scene as he painted it, but he would have painted them to give some context and a bit more interest to the scenes. Of course, I could visit this street sometime around now, actually, and there's lots of students coming out of their finals, and they all get covered in confetti and shaving foam, and it's a bit of a celebration. Now, that might actually make an interesting image, and perhaps I'll go and do that in the next day or two now that I've mentioned it. But again, there's something not quite right about this. There's a big empty space next to the chapel here in the sky. It wasn't the best light that I had that morning either, so it was mostly cloudy with a few breaks. I didn't really get any nice morning sunlight, and that was a shame. But even if I had done, there would have still been this gap up here with nothing much in it and no interest there, so it does feel slightly off balance again. But I think it's better than the first one in that respect. But it's not the best image of Oxford that I've ever taken. I did add some other images of Oxford that I've taken at the end of the video, so if you didn't make it to the end, you can go back and rewatch it to see some of those. I'm not going to talk about any of those because there are quite a lot, and as I said, I've got an Instagram account where I've collected those, so you can go and visit that and have a look through if you like. And I will be doing it a bit more in future, so I'll always add to that account as time goes on. And if people would like to see more of me photographing Oxford city centre, then I've got one or two ideas that I could do videos of. They're not necessarily going to suit the rest of the landscape theme that I have on my channel, but it is photography, and it is another aspect of photography that I enjoy, so I would be more than happy to create a video. Yeah, do you know what, I might as well just do it. So I mentioned that I was going to talk through a little bit more about what I like to capture when I'm out photographing Oxford. I've found more and more that I like to get my longer lens out and capture some of the details, and there are just one or two examples. For example, I've got one at the top of the Radcliffe camera. Radcliffe camera is not a camera, it's a building, it's a library, but it's a very famous one in Oxford. You may already know it, but I'll put a shot of it here. This is the image that I've captured of that, and it just shows the morning light on the roof of the building. You can see all the intricate detail that's gone on up there. From street level, you might not really notice those details unless you're really paying attention, but when you've got the camera, it draws you into those details, and that's in some way how I also find photographing architecture similar to what I've found in landscapes, in that I can really get a bit of a focus and almost a meditation in trying to find the right composition around the details of buildings, and also trying to get the straight lines that we always want to try and achieve with buildings and architecture shots. I also find myself drawn to capture the lesser known scenes and small vignettes of Oxford that you don't always see on postcards, because that's what I find most interesting. They are beautiful in every respect compared to anything else, but overshadowed by such buildings as the Radcliffe camera and the Bridge of Sighs and all the imagery of Oxford that you might be familiar with if you've ever seen what the city looks like on a postcard. That's all I had to say about those images, really. They're not the best images of Oxford that I've ever captured, and I'll be sure to go back into the city centre again and capture some more, simply because it's another type of photography that I enjoy. Primarily I like landscapes, and that's what features most on my channel, but if people do want to see more of this type of photography, then I will be tempted to do another Oxford video in future. But let me know what other types of photography you enjoy too in the comments below. And just briefly, in other news, there's been quite a lot of people who've expressed an interest in my online course and workshops that I'm working on. That is all coming together. I'm working on several different things at the moment, but right now I'm focusing on the online course materials, and I've got a pretty good final list of what subjects and what modules are going to be included in that course, and I'm really excited about it, and I hope that people are going to like it too. I'll share more details about how you can get that course once it's ready, but watch this space for that. So that concludes this video. Thank you very much for watching. I just want to thank everybody who does support me in one way or another. Everyone that watches and views and shares and likes and comments on my videos really does help a lot, and it does help me grow my channel. I have to emphasize that I'm not trying to grow my channel just for an ego boost or to just feel better about getting all the likes and comments. No, what I want to do is I want to grow this channel so that I can reach more people with my message about the well-being benefits of photography, how it's helped me and how it can help everybody else. So I know that a lot of people do support me in that respect, and I thank you very much. If you want to do a little bit more, you can support me and help out in this cause in other ways by visiting my Patreon or my website, and you can find out details about how you can help this cause or how you can help me spread my message. But thanks again for watching. Like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and I'll see you in the next one.